record on this. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. This is myself,
Good morning.
Mariposa Libre, and today we're going to talk about the healing journey. And I want to title this specifically Into the Heart, because that's the journey that I've been on. That's the journey that falls into place with everything that we've talked about as far as becoming your own superhero. Well, first you have to decide, right, to take the hero's journey, which you have. Terry, you've taken the hero's journey. You're on the journey now. We talked about how to become your own hero, your superhero with Milan, and overcoming the obstacles and embracing the obstacles and taking out the good and implementing the good. And now, as you continue on your journey, going to hit more obstacles, right? The bigger your goal, the bigger your vision, the opposite's going to show up right away. So you're already starting to see some of those manifestations come up, and it's like a resistance, right? It's a resistance. And so I want to talk to you about how to integrate all of it and how to really use the power of your heart in coherence with your mind to continue to create in this journey, right? The hero's journey is a lifelong journey, and it's also a healing journey because you're healing components of yourself throughout the process. As you're letting go of these layers upon layers of fears, of programs, of self-limiting beliefs, right? That can hold you back and can keep you stuck. Right? It's always a beautiful thing when you embark on a new journey. It's exciting, you're ramped up. But as you're going through the journey, and Orion's not here, but as you're going hole to hole, water to water source, there's obstacles you have to overcome. And he talked about some of those, right? And it's not always a perfect road along the journey. I mean, we wish it was, but reality is that life is here to teach us, and life is a lesson. Life is a lesson. And if we pass the lesson, then we can continue on our journey. Otherwise, we stay where we're at in a repetition pattern until
we start to stagnate.
Yeah. And we stay there until we pass it. And it's a reminder, right? That we can't proceed until we pass on to the next stage. So it's important to understand all the dynamics that are involved in the hero's journey, because you could get stuck, you could get surprised, you could get caught off guard. I mean, I wish I was taught these principles when I started my journey, because I thought everything was going to be straight up this way.
Me too.
But it's not. Like, there's the laws of the universe and everything. The most important thing is to keep the bigger vision in mind and have a great positive attitude throughout the whole journey, because knowing that everything that is showing up is to help you for your greatest good. And we have to continue to pull the good and what works for us and continue on our journey and to push forward and to move forward and it starts with the visualization, but it starts in the heart. Everything comes from the heart. I mean, we've all read the verse, right, where it says, I know it in Spanish, not so much in English, but from the heart, all things come from the heart, and we create from our heart. We create, King Solomon always said, always think of the good. Only think of the good. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to acknowledge the bad. You're not going to, accept the bad. There is no other way. Like, we have to accept things as they are and not wish they were different. Because wishing it was different is not going to help. It's going to keep us stuck. So we have to embrace that change or the thing that's showing up.
Yeah.
We have to accept it just the way that it's showing up in our life. It's like, okay. And then we can ask ourselves, what is it that this can teach me, right? So we're going to go into that a little bit more, but I want to start with the cacao. I sent the link in the messenger for you to be able to order your cacao, ceremonially graded. What's the store for the noise? cacao. And I'll also send a video so you know how to prepare it with the recipe. And what the cacao does, it has so many benefits when it's ground, when it's organic in the ground. The one that you'll order from the link, if you want to order from there, is with butter, is with the natural organic butter. And that with, it comes in the whole bean. So it's the whole bean itself. Just, hi, how cute. It's powdered down into a paste that then you can prepare. And so it's really health benefits to the wazoo when you mix it in with the honey and cinnamon and a little bit of cayenne pepper, a little bit of spice pepper, which is totally optional. It gives you 83 of the 116 benefits that are nutrients, micro meaning like minerals and vitamins that our body needs to function on a daily basis. So it's more than half of all the elements that we need to intake.
Okay.
And not only that, so it's very good for your heart physically, like it'll work better, it'll flow, it'll pump blood better, all the benefits. But on a spiritual realm, it's ancient medicine that our ancestors used to heal the heart. So whenever somebody passes or has a heart attack, dies from a heart attack, it's because they have a blocked heart, right? There's a blocked artery or there's something going on in the heart. And most of our emotional, if not all of our emotional trauma affects the heart. So if you've ever gone through any hardship, any, major loss, in the family or within yourself, in the finance and business, in family relationship, all of that, like that impacts your heart. And when we don't release that, it could block our hearts. Like it literally, spiritually speaking, and then physically, right? Because we know toxicity, all of the toxic thoughts, not only are toxic food, how people, well, when we eat fried foods, when we don't care for our diet, we can literally clog our arteries. Our arteries harden, and that prevents the blood to flow through, right? And it could cause lots of problems in our bodies. So
Yeah,
it's
something that I just recently heard. Well, since you've been talking about cacao, I was like, oh, well, let me just do some research. And there was a double-blind study, I believe, out of Stanford, that just after a few weeks of people drinking at least 70% cacao as a hot drink, their blood flow increased by like 30%. And
Wow.
I can see how that would just like really just put your body in a much better flow state. Like inflammation would go down, energy would go up, all these types of things. So that in itself is just, I can see how that's related to that heart brain coherence because it just creates more flow within your body.
Right.
So right now we're just talking about blood, the physical aspect, and then we're going to get into the spiritual aspect of it because the both combined is so powerful. Like that's all you'll ever need really on a day-to-day basis. So we know, right, in this journey, staying connected to it's not just the end state, it's what the end state represents, right? It's who we are. It's us at our highest version, which is connected to our spiritual self, right? Our spirituality, because it's by faith that we're calling that in, right? So it's a spiritual practice. So right now we're in the physical phase, right? The body. Just the benefits of your body is tremendous. So you want to mix it with almond milk or a plant-based milk, not cow's milk, but like there's all kinds of milks, right? I would encourage a plant-based milk. I use almond milk. You could use water, but the almond milk will have the additional benefits, right? So once you prepare it, you can pray over it, bless it, have it to be a nutrient energy drink. I don't drink coffee anymore. I drank some today because I had some extra, but I normally don't drink coffee at all. Like my 23 years of my drinking coffee, has it been 23 years? Yeah. I always drank coffee, and if I stopped, I would get a migraine, a really bad migraine, like I could not have. But what happens with coffee is that it shocks your nervous system, right? And if we're trying to heal and we're trying to stay grounded and trying to get out of stress mode, because ultimately that's the goal, is to get out of your nervous system all the stress factors, right? Because we know stress causes you not to be in creation mode. It causes you to get anxious. It causes you not to sleep well. It causes problems in the body. You can't flow. God's energy, love, your divine creation, what you're creating, right? You're in a creation mode in the journey, right? You're creating your path. You're making your way through life, and it's by faith, right? So until you take action, nothing's going to show up for you, right? So you're taking steps by faith. I used to have this sign, I think my sister still has it, that says, I walk by faith, not by sight. So as you're taking your steps, you don't know what, you're just taking these steps, but spirit, God, universe shows up right as you're taking your step. So back to the cacao. So you prepare it, drink it, bless it, and then you just drink it in gratitude, always in gratitude. This is so important. Attitude of gratitude in every single way. It's the fastest fix to any problem that we can experience in our day.
Yes.
Just to be grateful, right? For the moment, for the breath. And there's a prayer that I say every morning, which is called opening up the four directions. And it's really like a whole little, it's like a medicine wheel, if you will. The South is about letting go of old stories, things that have limited me, beliefs, and to change them to positive thoughts and beliefs. The West is about letting go of the past and letting go of the shadows, the fears, the things that are still showing up in my day, to die to those old ways of being. And the North is about connecting to my journey, right? And asking for guidance and knowing that I'm supported by God, universe, my ancestors. And the East is about a new way of being, like really being and stepping into my full self. And so I'm going to take you through each of those directions here in the next 4 weeks. But today is about, sharing those old stories and letting go of those self-limiting beliefs, because those are the ones that keep us stuck.
Right.
And they're going to continue to show up until we release them. So there are several ways to release them, right? So you say your morning prayer, drink, and then your cacao, you just get to work, right? It's really important to have a routine every morning where you're connecting through prayer, through meditation, connect to your end vision and the feeling. It's so important to have the feeling. Now, as you're thinking about your end state, the opposite's going to show up, right? By law of opposites, the opposite's going to show up. And this is where you can grab those thoughts that are against your end result, right? The fears, the programs that tell you you can't or you don't, or well, you tried it and look what happened, or nobody's gonna believe this, nobody's gonna buy this, whatever the issue problem that shows up, right? So it's important to be aware, and you can write them down, and it's important to embrace them, right? Healing is not becoming the super perfect, like superhero superstar that just gets everything right, nothing bothers, everything's perfect. No, it's about loving and embracing every part of us, even the parts that are still struggling, the parts that
Right.
people don't believe, right? It's important not to just shun those parts of us that are trying to protect us, because those were our protector parts most of our life. And they helped us at a certain point in our life, but they no longer serve us, right?
Right.
That's what the South is all about, is about letting go of people, places, and things that no longer serve us. And it's not in a bad way. It's not that you are better than, and now you know, like you're gonna shun everyone off, but you're not going to make them or listen to those voices or listen to those influences anymore, except to send them love. Like, it's going to show up. People are going to show up with their own doubts, worries, and fears. And all you could do is just send them a blessing. Like,
Right.
you know, I understand you feel that way. However, that's not my journey anymore. That's not.
Right. That's not my journey. And it's weird that sometimes a lot of that will come from family, you know, or close friends, and even within in myself, you know, throughout all this storm and ice and everything, the devil was really trying to get me to get upset, but the entire time I was at peace about it. And I was very, very grateful. And I think it's that, I know it's that gratitude with and for and from God that kept me at peace, because you know what? I did have a house. I did have blankets. I did have a car that I could get in to charge our phones and to warm up. You know, I had a tank full of gas where I needed to go and get food. And I think had I not had that mindset and that attitude of gratefulness, it would have gone a whole lot differently. It could have made me negative. And I kept trying to explain that to Dylan. There are people that, you know, they don't even have a cold house to go into or blankets to warm themselves up. So we are in the top 5 right there. And then we've got a car, and we've got food in the house as far as snack wise and stuff like that that we can go in and get and bring to the car, countless beverages, and we are financially able to go out and find some place that's open and get food. You know, it doesn't just have to be, you know, a Burger King or McDonald's or whatever, but I think gratitude has a whole lot, it has an awful lot to do with how we proceed on our journeys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
And two, you know, the great thing, one of the great things about gratitude for the things that are within your current purview allows those things to just enhance and to be more abundant. Like, oh, well, I'm thankful for the snacks that I have. Okay, well then more food will come your way that tastes even better. And it's like, oh, I'm grateful for, you know, the blankets that I have. Okay, well, a trip to an exotic place that's super warm will show up. You know, it's
Mhm.
being grateful for the things that are in your purview is the greatest way to move beyond your current purview.
Right.
Yeah.
And that gratitude, it came through friends that got their power on first, you know, come over, sit down, eat, heat up, take a nap, do what you want to do. And I was thankful that our water heater was gas so that we still had hot water. You know, we could still shower and do whatever we needed to do with the warm water. And then the gratefulness of discernment and ideas that came to me. Like I ordered 2 coolers from Shipt, and I got 2 bags of ice, and I put my freezer stuff in there. Well, and my milk and liquids and stuff in the garage. Well, one of my neighbors hadn't thought of that. And I go, all my liquids are in the garage. And they go, well, like, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that. You know, so I was able to share some of that. And don't open your freezers. And that had been taught to Milan and Leisha as children. So they didn't open their freezer and they didn't lose anything. And, it's just like, hey, you got to ride it out to the best of your ability with the knowledge that you have, and to constantly seek wisdom, because it's when we talk to other people that either are on the same journey or have been on this part of the journey before, is where we get that advice from, and that powerful knowledge and wisdom from.
Exactly. Yeah. I love
Yeah.
you.
It's really the ability to not freak out. and
Right.
and to not freak out with a positive attitude, I think is a real superhero move.
Mm.
And really, with whether it's cacao or it's meditation or it's prayer or it's your self-talk, like it really gives you that ability to not freak out. And when you're not freaking out, you're not in that stress mode, even mentally. And like all
Right.
of these functions a lot better when you're not constantly in that mode.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what happens is when we are in fight or flight mode, which is what happens, right? When you get all of a sudden a wrench is thrown your way, your immediate it's a reaction, right? Especially if it's a survival, like electricity is out, right? And it's freezing cold outside. And all those, you get in survival mode and you start to think of ways to stay safe and to stay warm. And those are the moments where it's hard to create, it's hard to have peace, it's hard to have that center, right? And so connecting to the divine through gratitude is the fastest way, just finding things to be grateful for in anything that shows up in your life, and any obstacle that comes your way is to look at it, acknowledge it, and say, okay, so what can this teach me? How can I grow from this? What can I learn to not do again? And what can I do to take me to the next level?
And
There's-
one of the things that it did for Dylan was it taught him that, you know what, you can survive and live and be happy without video games, without VR, with just your phone or, some blankets, and then he thought about it when the power came on because there was no cable. He was like, oh, well, I can watch movies that I have through my Xbox. So it showed him that he was able to survive too. And I think his calmness came from our calmness. However, when my husband was off on Saturday and that was his first day experiencing it, some of the calmness kind of went out the window, and I had to explain, what, the power is coming, and we can go to Starbucks and get your coffee, and yeah, okay, you all right there? You all right there? But we got through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mariposa was talking about, fight or flight. And the opposite of fight or flight is rest and digest. And I think that's not just physically, that's spiritually as well. If we're out of fight or flight, then we can rest and digest the lessons that the universe has for us, the gifts that the universe has for us. And that state of gratitude enables us to be in rest and digest instead of fight and flight. So I love that.
Yeah.
It definitely came in handy this weekend because I did have some neighbors that were freaking out. They had legit reasons. One, they're both seniors, and one partner has Alzheimer's, and that changed. They couldn't do that cold. They couldn't. Their body wasn't regulating the heat that they needed, so they needed to find a hotel. And I was grateful that they did have a hotel for that. And it showed Dylan too how to go and help a neighbor, because no power, you can't open your garage. But I showed him that you can do these things manually, and we released the chain and held the garage door open so Alan could get the car out, and this, that, and the other. And it showed not only him, but it showed each of us as neighbors that we could depend on each other, and that there was always a solution to every problem. And it didn't necessarily have to be fight or flight. It could be work together and to rest in that. And I was grateful for those lessons learned for him.
Yeah.
When you have those when you're operating from a place of peace, like Celine said, you can create a lot more. So like your creativity is much more open. They're like, oh, we can do this. Oh, we can do that. Oh, we can do this. Rather than being blocked off. And when you're stressed out, it's just all you're thinking about is the thing that's stressing you out, rather than all the solutions that are surrounding you in the mountain of evidence that you're already standing on. And that's one of the things I think that we can forget about when situations come up, because our life can be situational, but the universe is thinking generational. Like this solution already has or this issue already has a solution built in, because the universe is thinking generational. He already knows what you're going through. And being able to rest and digest, then you can accept those solutions being available to you. You can
and
much more of
you can receive them a lot faster too if you're not in that fight or flight mode. That in that rest mode, it allows your calm, your heart's calm. It allows those ideas and solutions to come to your mind, and you can pass them on if need be. But it just, I don't know, I was okay the entire time. Was I chilly when I was in the house? Until I got under my blankets, and then I was good to go. And my phone, I have no cable or internet right now, but praise God, my phone is still picking up internet. My tablet won't, my husband's phone won't, his little tablet won't let him pick up internet. But you know what? it's on my phone because it's supposed to be on my phone. I need it to be on my phone. I can
Mm.
do my devotions this morning, and kids got a little bit of cartoons before school because one still had school this today, and the other two don't. And that peace, oh my gosh, that peace and grace. Oh, child.
Praise the Lord.
There
Now
you go.
imagine all that is enhanced by some cacao. Like, 5% more of all that, or 10% more, or 30% more of all that, plus your body is just in more flow.
Right.
So
I
the
think
cacao,
it's
yeah,
worthwhile.
the cacao opens up your heart, like literally and spiritually, just like
Yeah.
to receive and to, right? Because if your heart is blocked, you're not going to receive the blessings.
Right.
You're not going to see your way out of where you're wanting to come out of into the promised land, right? If you will.
Right.
Right? The people were complaining the whole way and they just said, I want to go back. And it used to be like this, and it used to be like, and they never got to the promised land because of their
Nope.
complaining and their bad attitudes. And that's something that, we have to be consciously aware of when we start to fall into the negative stinking thinking, and to refocus that energy, to forgive ourselves, to have mercy on ourselves, and to say, oh wow, I'm having a moment here. Let me have a holy moment. Let me go back to gratitude. Gratitude will save you every time. And just being
Yeah.
grateful for the things you have now and the things that you are manifesting as if they're already done, and then turn them over and release them to God universe and say, you take over, you are the one that's managing and believing in the higher power. Turning it over and surrendering it is very, very important.
It is. Yeah, what you were saying brought to mind something else, because when the power company did show up, they says we can't connect your power because your meter has been ripped from your house. When that tree fell on your lines, it took your meter right off your house. So of course we called around, and every electrician is like busy, 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 busy. And so, Michael said, call Jeff. And I was like, no, you call Jeff. You call Jeff. And Jeff was like, well, yeah, I've had to work with those before. Let me look at it and see. And he was able to get it done. And we were able to get the electric company to come back and get it hooked on. And everything was, in a sense, hunky dory. And the lights came on and this, that, and the other. And it was like, the heavens opened up, and we came on in the house. It was 40 degrees in the house still. And then it was like, Michael was doing a count up instead of a countdown. It's 42. It's 45. It's 50. It's 55. So when it got into the 60s, I saw his stress level going down, and he kept apologizing throughout all of this. I'm sorry. And I said, until you become in charge of the universe and weather and nature, there's no reason for you to say you're sorry. He says, well, I'm sorry that you went through this. And I said, I understand that and I accept that, but you don't need to keep saying it, because I was good to go. I mean, people were like, how can you sit in your car? My car is comfortable. God knew about this way before it happened. This was not a surprise to him. He didn't wake up Wednesday morning and go, oh, it's ice coming to the lower part of Michigan. No. He said, no, let's see what those that have given wisdom and problem solving too, let's see what they do. I backed my car in the driveway and I looked around and I had a good old time. Napped, ate, watched TV, watched movies.
Yeah, those leather heated seats will do wonders.
I love heated
Yeah,
seats.
we don't have the heated seats. That would have just taken it up to the top notch. But you know what? After I sat there for a little bit, all of this got it warm.
Yeah, your body heat. Look, God is good all the time. It's up to us to tap into that power and that energy, and no matter what.
People
No
say
matter
that and don't understand what they're saying and the influence and what that means. What that means. That's not just a
actually
saying.
put it into practice when
Right.
the test shows up, to actually put it into life.
Yeah. And that this weekend was that. This weekend was that. And
And
we
this,
were good to go. My brother-in-law many years ago sent us this wool native blanket he either made or got from somewhere, because he had got him one and Michael commented on it. That bad boy came out of the top of the closet and it went on that bed and we slept just fine. Waking up was a little bit of a psych yourself up moment to come out from under those covers, but I was grateful enough to come out from under those covers to warm clothes and to be able to go to a warm car. And, you know,
Exactly. And
my
that's,
heart was at rest and at peace for this journey.
and you know, the world needs more people like you that can shine the light in the darkness. And that's what becoming a hero and staying on this path is all about, because when they see you, that gives them permission and knowledge. Oh, I don't have to freak out. I don't have to panic. Look at Terry. Look how I just need to take on some of that. Whether they accept it, realize it or not, your energy has an impact on them. Your peace.
I would like to think so.
Yeah. And that's how we could change the world, literally one person at a time. As we increase our faith and peace and gratitude, we're raising the levels of vibration of the world, because you're impacting. So your heart is a strong magnetic force. The strongest magnet, stronger than your brain power, than all the things you can sit here and think all day. I'm this, I'm that, da 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 da. But if your heart doesn't believe it, it's not going to happen.
Right.
You're not
Right.
gonna mountains, right? It's faith that moves the mountain, and you only need a little bit of faith, but it just has to be pure faith without doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's why, like, scripture and the self-help world always talk about your heart, being the truth from your heart. And our heart, we tend to relate our heart with our feelings. And Neville Goddard talks about, like, your feelings and faith are really interchangeable, because what you really feel to be true is what you believe to be true. Because
That
people
is
can
true.
talk all day, and you're just like, no, I feel that you're lying to me. Like,
Mhm.
my heart
Right.
is saying something else.
I'm not seeing what you're saying. I'm not seeing
Right.
you believe what you're saying. Like, it used to bug me all the time when when you ask them how they were doing, especially Christians, blessed and highly favored. Your life doesn't look like you're blessed and highly favored. And I'm not talking about material stuff. I'm talking about the look on your face, your attitude, and how you're treating other people. Because you can
Right.
say blessed and highly favored and then turn around and somebody bump your car and then you cuss them out. Wait a minute. Where that bless and that favor go?
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, people can walk the talk and act as if, and in the church or in the spiritual realm, it doesn't matter where, they could be like, oh, but it's when they're alone, their truth comes out from the heart, because you can't hide what comes from your heart. It
No, because the
manifests.
Bible tells us out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The attitude speaks. The reaction speaks. Yeah.
God, universe, and law of attraction works by thought with feelings. It's whatever the predominant thought is of the day with the predominant feeling is what will manifest, is what will show up. So yes, you can say all the right things and do all the right things, but if in your heart of hearts you're not right with yourself, you're not whole,
Right.
aligned with your spiritual, your thoughts and your feelings, your actions are going to show what's in your heart. If it's
Mhm.
hatred or jealousy or unforgiveness or whatever it is that you're feeling, you're reliving the past. Most of us live in the past. Most of the time when we're unconscious, when we're not aware, we're always feeling and thinking the past. And this is what Joe Dispenza talks about a lot. And what we were talking about earlier is that you want to retrain, and Bob and this whole world of personal development is retraining the body, the subconscious mind, which is the heart. It's completely the heart, because the heart controls the mind and the body, right?
Right.
The mind just takes a command from the heart, turns the message into a chemical that is then released to the body, and then the body acts accordingly. So it's the command of the thoughts. Now you can change your thoughts by being aware. This is us in our higher level. We start to absorb ourselves. We start to see, how do we act? How do we think? How do we feel? And you can just start taking those one at a time and releasing them by writing them down, tearing them up, burning them, burying them, whatever you need to do, as a symbol that you're actually releasing it. And then you have to plant it with something different. Like you have to
Right.
right away, immediately fill in that void, that space with the positive affirmation and you believe, right? For example, I'm not worthy. Well, I am worthy of all the love and support, but this is where the heart comes in, where when you open up your heart, you open up your heart to receive all the goodness that you desire, and consciously you can start to release those old feelings, because those old feelings are going to bubble up. That's what the heart opening does. It allows you to feel when you're blocked, when your heart is blocked, you don't even realize that you're blocked. You don't realize, you don't even know that what feelings are coming up, because you've suppressed them for so long that it's suppressed, and that suppression leads to anxiety, leads to depression. It leads to so many ailments and disease that people die from every day.
Yeah, one of the things too that Joe talks about, and why the heart coherence is so prevalent in his teaching, is because he says that your personality is really your personal reality, and who you think you are, that's your reality. And like, you know, your personality is like how you feel about things, what you think about things, what you do, and like all these things are you know, your normal but also habitual. It's like you can change your personal reality as soon as you basically break up the patterns that you're normally doing. And one of the ways to do that is stuff that we talk about, is just observing. Okay, let me just take some time to observe what I'm doing, and do I agree with the results? Am I telling
Right.
myself, for instance, a story that I want to hear, or am I telling myself a story that I don't want to hear? And a lot of times, like, you can, if as soon as you start to notice, you'll really notice that, like, I'm telling myself a story I don't want to hear. Like, I'm telling myself these disapproving thoughts, and these things that are negative, or these are enhancing these obstacles. And it's really like, you know,
Right.
you're in your own way.
Yeah.
And you have to write a new story for yourself. And like Joe Dispenza says, since we're talking about him, breaking the habit of being yourself, he talks about, you know, the need to move away from those factors that have put you into fight and flight, you know, like resentment or jealousy, or the things that, you know, Mariposa was talking about. If your heart is full of gratitude and you are focused on the present and not the past, then you can begin to write a new story for yourself. And you know,
Right.
that's really, really powerful. And you can break the habit of being your old self and create that new self, right? Like we talked about, going away from being the shapeshifter and stepping into the hero and becoming that superhero by setting your heart in alignment with, you know, the higher purpose.
Sometimes it's hard to identify the areas that we are not incongruent with, right? Some of those old patterns. So a good way to determine where you may have some limiting beliefs is to look at your results. Is there any area that is not fully what you want it to be, and you've been working on that area for a while? Like, what area? You don't have to tell it, but just think about what hasn't shown up for yourself yet, and then you can backtrack. You know, what is the belief that I have? And closing your eyes and feeling into that, like, say you want to earn X amount of dollars every month, right? What are the feelings that rise up when you close your eyes and you think about that goal? That's the answer right there. Those are your limiting beliefs. And so we just have to allow those feelings to come up instead of suppressing them, right? And that's what Cacao does. And then when you activate your brain and your heart into a coherent state, everything is just exponentially, you send out this beacon of magnetic energy and attraction force that'll bring to you all the people, places, and things that you need, and ideas. And when you're in your meditative state or praying, right, you're going to get these insights, these what we call intuitive hits, like, why don't you reach out to that person? That's what you did with the person that fixed your electric box, right? That came to you, that idea, the name, and that was an inspirational hit, right? Call this person, or go do this post, or when you're solving a problem, same thing, right? It's like you're thinking of the problem and you just thank God it's resolved and you surrender it. And then all of a sudden you're going to get the ideas, the messages, the intuition. And this is so important to connect to our own intuition and to listen to that voice and know when it's speaking to us and be guided by our intuition. You can trust yourself, trust your
Right.
intuition. So many times that I didn't listen to my intuition, and then I got into trouble because I didn't listen. Because I'm like, well, just a little bit longer, or oh, I'll do it in a minute. And then that moment passes and I didn't take the action, and then I regret it. And I'm like, intuition was telling me, spirit was telling me, and I wasn't listening. So it's super important to be so tuned into our guidance system, right? Our navigation system. I'd like to end with the brain heart coherence, but I'm gonna let Milan speak. That's about 3 minutes.
I just had it in my mind. Well, a couple of things. One, like a while back, you said, when you're acting from a place of peace and creativity and that balance, you're giving other people permission. And I think that really matters, because like some people are just waiting for someone to give them permission to do what they know to do what they know feels right. And they're waiting for someone that maybe looks like them, or just somebody that's in their purview that they know, that's personal or even impersonal, like, hey, somebody that I saw on YouTube. But like when you do feel that permission, and Alicia said something like that when we first got together, that I gave her the permission she was waiting for. She didn't even know she was waiting for it, to just be herself and to just
Right.
be a woman and not have to be mom, not have to be caregiver, not have to be all these other things. And it's opened up her entire world. Like she's now finishing writing her book, and she's doing all these other things and planning for more, and writing movie scripts and stuff, because like I
Nice.
triggered that permission. And I think too, like when we're acting in a good place, just to know that we're also giving other people permission that we'll probably never meet, but they're so thankful that we said yes to ourselves. And
Absolutely.
Right.
that is the way to really exponentially, impact the world in that way. And one of the things too that Joe's been able to test with some of his stuff with heart coherence, is that when you are balanced, when your heart is flowing really well, that it sends out like a Wi-Fi signal, basically. And other people, whether they know that or not, they're connecting to that Wi-Fi signal, and then they start getting ideas, then they start wanting balance, and it's just like a domino effect of greatness.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where when you heal yourself, you heal your 7 generations behind and before you. So the healing is not just for you, but it's for everyone around you, everyone you impact, and people you're not even going to meet, like your great grandchildren are going to benefit from the work of healing. And the healing journey into the heart is a journey into love. Love of self, love of others, love of life, love of doing what you love to do. It's saying yes to yourself. It's all the things that we've been working on, and to live a fulfilled, love, happy life, right? A happy, rewarding, self-fulfilling life where you're not just grinding out to make money, because that's what most of us are conditioned to, is to graduate high school, get a job, make money, and then buy all the things that will make you happy. But nowhere is there ever taught how to be happy,
Right.
how to love and accept yourself just the way you are, how not to try to change yourself, but to love and embrace all parts of you, the good and the bad, the good and the ugly, all the things that make us human beings. And this is what this journey is about. So I'm gonna start and end with this meditation here. This is how you bring your brain and your heart into coherence, so that you can open up and receive all the good that you desire. But it also sets a whole wave of chemical reactions into your body for peace, for tranquility. It even reverses aging. You're at a cellular molecular level. You get this like healing. It's all about healing. So it's closing your eyes, putting your hand on your heart, and then you're going to start being grateful for everything, anything that comes to your mind. And then you're gonna slowly, I'm gonna count for you, but you're gonna slowly inhale for a count of 5. You're gonna hold for a count of 5, and then you're gonna release for 5 seconds. And so we're gonna do this together on the count of 3, and then I'm gonna stop counting at some point, and you just keep doing the breathing until until we say stop, and I'm gonna set my alarm here. And we'll get started. All right, let's start inhaling on a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue to be grateful for everything and anything in your life. Inhaling 3, 4, 5. Holding the breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue inhaling in gratitude. All right, my sisters
Hey, what about me?
and brothers.
I have feminine energy, but not that much.
How did that feel?
It
Super
felt
good.
great.
Oh man, I was visualizing all these Wi-Fi signal great people that I've connected with through day one and through Waymakers, like radiating throughout their community, and like I could see a map of like these like glowing little things. Cool.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
that. Terry?
I just basically felt and saw colors of peace. It's almost like I had a prism going through me. I mean, I could hear what the kids were doing, but it was on a different wavelength. So it was really good.
Beautiful. Colors are good. Love it. Jenna, you were muted while you were speaking.
Sorry, I'm driving, so it automatically mutes it. I was saying that I felt peace too. It wasn't colors like that, but it's interesting because I have some difficulty with like breathing and holding my breath, and it just flowed for the first time, that I've done that meditation where like holding my breath wasn't uncomfortable. It just was all peaceful and flowing, and it was
Yeah, I
perfect
had
timing too
to.
because I had just pulled into my parking spot at work when you started the meditation. So I was able to do the whole thing. It was so remarkable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got so into it at one point that my mind had to say, "Okay, you need to breathe again," because I
Yeah.
was just
Breathe,
so
breathe.
into it. I was so into it after the fourth or fifth breath that when I would get to the whole part, you know, I don't know if it's from being a swimmer or not, but it was like, okay, it's way past 5. You can breathe now.
That's funny.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
holding the breath really releases the stress and it raises vibration. I added that piece, but Joe just says just to breathe in and out slowly. So just to bring that out, getting into the alpha waves, right? That's when you connect to your intuition.
Mhm.
I'm also
Yeah.
I'm studying how to connect to the intuition on a like that. So I'll be sharing that maybe Wednesday. So we're
Cool.
top of the
Thank
hour.
you. That's great.
Have a beautiful rest of your day. Love you
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Have a good day.
Bye.
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 Bye.